Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And today we're taking a look at all of Igor Vasiliev's incredible apps, because they're all on sale. So let's make something with them, because they're cool, they're unique, they're weird, they're awesome, they're strange, and that's cool. Let's Hello and welcome to the show. My name's Jade and this is How to App on iOS, and I hope you're doing okay. Welcome. As I said at the top of the show, we're taking a look at all of Igor Vasiliev's apps. If you haven't seen them before, they're very unique, they're very strange. Sometimes they look like science experiments, and sometimes the sounds that come out of them are like science experiments as well. And sometimes you need a degree in knob twiddling. Has anybody got a degree in knob twiddling? Oh, wait. Come on, don't lie. You've all got a degree in knob twiddling. But no, we're going to take a look at them because they're all on sale. So most of these, not most of them, all of these apps I've covered before. And in the description below are all of the links to the videos that I did, original demos of these apps. Very in-depth, so you can't complain. And there's plenty of other tutorials out there that cover these apps also. Let's say hello to the folks who are here in the chat. Jim Shannon's rocked in with Clayton Von Kluge heading up behind. Thomas Christ is slinging links like he's a fucking basketball player, whatever that is. Leela just finished her stream, dumped everybody over here. Thanks for that, Leela. Mr. Cockney, hello. Recovering from the blackout here in Madrid. Well, I hope the power is back soon. Who else do I see who I've got to say hello to? Jamie Lynn, Brad Example. Mike and Dawn Janice, hello. Who else do I see? I think I've got most of you. Studio 6+1, hi Dave. Good to see you. Justine Kasprick, I see down the bottom, sneaking in. Dawn and Mike and Dawn are making they're cooking. I think I got most of you. Just let me double check, make sure. I know Russ and I have an idea are watching as well too. All righty. Oh boy. Hello, Justine. Ed Zielinski. Did I see Ed Zielinski call it? Anyway, if he is here, hello. Can't see anything today on the screen. All right. Let's have a look. Let's talk about these price drops first, because all these apps are on sale and I've collected them all over here so you can take a look at them. Boom. Here they all are. So I'll just get out the way for a second. You've got NoiseSpace down from $15.99. I'm going to round them up, yeah, instead of doing the 99s, but let's just call it $1. So $16 down to $10, so $6 off. LoopMangler, $15 down to $9. StellarVox, $12 down to $7. NoInputMixer. So $16 down to $10, $6 off again. Same with GlitchScaper, and VintageRack is $15 down to $9. So pretty substantial savings. SpaceFields $10.99 down to $5.99. Alterpace $8 down to $4. SoundSaw, which is $5.99 to $2.99. One of my favorites, BeatCutter, $15.99 to $10 essentially. SynthScaper, so Classic Effects is on sale as well, and the SynthScaper. So there's two SynthScaper apps here. One is LE and one is just SynthScaper, yeah? And the SynthScaper plain one is not an AUv3. So the LE one is an AUv3 only, so they're separated. But $1.99 for the LE version, that's very much worth it. So they're all on sale. Absolutely worth your time to grab them. If you are a Patreon, we've got a giveaway for you. Yeah. Thank you, Thomas, for slinging the links there. You can go straight to Igor's iTunes App Store page, and you'll see all the apps there. There you go. See, I preempted Ed Zielinski. Look at that. I said it. I said hi. He wasn't even here yet. I knew he was coming. Hi, Dell, as well. A poet, and I didn't know it. So let's get into some of these apps. Well, we're going to cover all of them and just make something with them, but give you a little run through that's not too in-depth and it's going to melt your brain or anything like that. We'll be using today AUM because it's nice and easy to use. And we're going to start off with, you are from the future, Ed. Boom. So let's start off with, I don't know, what do we start off? Let's start off with NoiseSpace. So NoiseSpace can be integrated a couple of ways. So let's load up an audio track. Now, with some of these apps, not all of them, they can be loaded as an instrument. Let me bring myself up. Hi, I'm down here. They can be loaded as an instrument or as an effect. Not all of them are like this, but some of them are. And how can you tell this? Well, let's show you. So these two nodes here in AUM, which is still playing along there, these are where you would place an instrument. And this is where you would place an effect. So these, if you double tap, you can add extra effect slots. So just think of it like GarageBand, your main instrument, and these are your effect slots, right? So how can you tell which ones are going to be able to use as an instrument? So all you need to do is hit Audio Unit Extension, scroll down, and put in the word IMAL. And this gives you, IMAL is the abbreviation that's used for Igor's apps here. So you can see NoiseSpace, SynthScaper, SpaceFields, GlitchScaper, NoInputMixer, BeatCutter, and LoopMangler can be used as instruments. And most of them, nearly all of them except SynthScaper, have in brackets, I'll just zoom in, you can see instrument. And normally that means you can load these up as an effect as well. Now, what does that mean if I load something up as an effect? Well, that means I can put something through it and it will do what it normally does as an instrument, but around what your input, a separate input. And I can show you this so you can see all these are used as instruments. Now, if we go over here to our little effects slot and do the same thing and type IMAL, you can see here, these are all effect slots, and you'll see some of the ones that we just saw. GlitchScaper, NoInputMixer, so all these are now listed as effects. And you'll see there's a few others like Stella Vox, which is a huge cavernous reverb, AltiSpace, reverb again using impulse responses, VintageRack, so this is a whole bunch of effects. So most of these can be used as instruments and effects. But we're going to kick off today by taking a look at the wonderful NoiseSpace. Let's just bring this up full screen. Here, now. So now remember, a lot of these apps are essentially for making noise and avant-garde stuff and soundscapes and drones and all this kind of weird stuff. Now, if you have a look, you'll notice a very consistent theme throughout the apps as well too, with the dials and the coloring kind of represents the apps and all the buttons. They're very similar. To me, it always looks like I'm in a cockpit whenever I'm using these apps. They just remind me of an aeroplane cockpit. This one is very easy to use. Most of them are easy to do something to make sounds, but if you want to get a full understanding, you can watch my demos that are in the description below. What's really interesting about NoiseSpace is there's a whole bunch of presets in all of these, so you can see a whole bunch of presets there, but you don't need to use any of the presets. You can pretty much just hit the create button and it will create shit. Do it again. And what's cool about this generation stuff, if you like something, you can save it. You can save it in your own folders. When you tap on the presets, you can create folders. So I have a folder here called Jade. And I might want to I can click on Jade, and I might want to save this. And this has been added down here. I can move it now into Jade if I want. And that is now in here. I can rename it. Let's just call it Hell. And that is now saved. Beautiful. Let's change the sound up. So you can see, just by hitting that create button, you get some really interesting sounds. Now you can get totally in depth with this and start with a completely empty preset, like in a knit patch, and build your own things as well too. But by itself, incredible stuff. I'm now going to introduce into this loop. Let's try adding something else in here. Let's try adding LoopMangler. So you'll notice straight away it's taken the initial input from here and is mangling this stuff up. Now again, lots of presets, textured stuff, chaos. And the one thing the one thing that's super important about these apps, let me just bring down the volume, is with all of them, you'll notice they have this, if I'm going to create something, if I come in here and choose, say, a preset, let's show you this. So if I choose a preset from here, there's a set button on almost every one of these apps. So if you choose something, you have to hit set to put it into action, yeah? Pick another one, hit set. And it's the same with this new app we're looking at down here with LoopMangler. I can load a preset, and as soon as I hit set, it activates it. So what does LoopMangler do? Pretty much what it says. You can add a whole bunch of things in here to mangle the sound up, and there is just a ridiculous amount of things you can add, like gating, glitching, stuttering, pulse, decimation, filters, comb filters, slow, noise, delays. And you can put these in anywhere you want, pretty much. You can draw these in, put something in a stutter, and we can control steps and envelope and all this kind of stuff. We can put in anything we want. Let's put in something over here. You've got rhythmic stuff like this. So remember, this just started from this droning kind of sound from our wonderful NoiseSpace. I'm going to take both of these out of the mix. Let's move on to something else here. Let's talk about, let's go with next no input mixer. So you may have heard of the technique of no input mixing before. Basically what no input mixing is, think about a desk. So a input desk, much like my Rodecaster. I can probably do it this way. Give me a sec. So here's my Rodecaster sitting right here. It's got level inputs. So basically what no input mixer is doing is I can imagine taking the output, plugging in something into this input, and then taking the output and feeding it back into itself. And that creates feedback, yeah? So basically, this is a technique of creating noise and sound and textures that has been around for a long time, where you're feeding back the input signal, the output back into the input, and it feeds back onto itself. And that's exactly what no input mixer simulates. So there's a bunch of presets in here as well. Paws and Guitars, hello. Thanks for stopping by. So, super easy to kick off. There's a bunch of presets. I can choose like a drone. Again, we've got our set button up the top. I'm going to set it. You can see we're getting some sound here, but there's no volume. One of the first things you need to remember with this particular app is to turn it up, because it kicks off with the level. This is your output level. So all you really need to do is choose a preset to kick off. Let's choose this drone, hit set, and then turn it up. And there's our sound. So you can hear with this, hopefully you get the idea. We've all heard what feedback sounds like when you plug a guitar into the wrong jack. You should be able to hear that kind of tonality in this. Right? So it's that feeding back in on itself. It's an original, a noise that's been created, then feeding back. And all of these do that. Now, if you just want to skip through presets with all these, there's these arrows, and you can just click them. Again, these are not full tutorials today because these are all very, very deep apps, yeah? Listen to that. How good is that, though? Straight off the bat. How good is that? You think about using that for like a horror film. I'm telling you, this would just make a sound developer's life so easy these days to make textures and stuff like that with apps like this. People talk about AI putting people out of jobs. This app would for horror films. I love this app so much. I love all these apps. While we've got this noise going, let's talk about this one here, yeah? So let's talk about, we're adding an effect this time, and we're going to talk about StellarVox. StellarVox is a massive reverb, yeah, with impulse responses, heaps of presets, right? Let's add this one. And you should be able to hear now this beautiful reverb, convolution reverbs. There's some huge ones in here too. You look at some of the names and I'll tell you, Dark Canyon. Wow. To me, that's done. Let's bring back in here, NoiseSpace. So let's just take them out of the mix for a minute and just bring in an instrument for a tick. We're going to load up, what do we load up our guns? Bring your friends as far, sorry, that's a song. King of VHS. Let's just load this up in here. And I want to show you Stella Vox, wherever you are, Stella Vox, just with a keyboard sound, yeah? And we'll connect. And let's go to one of these presets. Give me a second. So I'm going to take out all the reverb out of this. So here we go. Here is just the sound. So we've got like a distorted kind of tone under there, and we've got like this these bells. Let's add StellarVox in here, and I'm going to go back to and listen to these reverb tails. So there it is without the reverb. And here it is with Mateusz Brakowski. So you can hear so much bigger already, such a longer tail. Now that's just one reverb, and there are heaps of them in here, yeah, plenty of reverbs. Let's go try something like Temple of Divine Will. This one in particular goes on for ages, and you can control all of that with this, yeah? So you've got the size of the space here. You can turn this up to how you want. Remember, it's a convolution reverb, so whenever you change anything, it takes a few seconds to actually register, and you'll notice the little waveform change. If I turn this down, see it change. So this is not something that you want to flick through presets very quickly, because it actually has to take a few seconds to recalibrate. This is how convolution reverb works. Beautiful sounds though. All right, let's talk about one of my favorite apps, and it is, of course, BeatCutter. So I'm going to take, we're going to add a little node in here, and I'm going to use, so BeatCutter is another one of those apps that can be used as an input source going input, or it can generate its own kind of thing as well too. We're going to put BeatCutter in here, and let me show you what happens. So we'll just find BeatCutter. Now, BeatCutter's a mangler. At the same time, it takes the audio and totally... This is probably, out of all of Igor's apps, probably the hardest one to get your head around. I've done a pretty detailed tutorial on this one. But even it trips me up too. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, you can look at all these buttons across the top, and I'm sure most of you would be seeing this and freaking out and going, what the fuck is going on here with all of this? Plus, we've got sections down the bottom here. So basically what this does, it takes the input signal and it chops it all up, mangles it in all these different array of patterns around this block here. You'll start to see it populate once I start putting sound through it. So let's push this sound through BeatCutter. So I've turned it on and it should be playing like this. But when I add BeatCutter, all the sound disappears. That's because I've got to start it. I've got to turn it on. And I want to first come over here to our templates, and all these numbers I explained in the original video. It's going to, your best bet, I'm going to hit random, and this will randomize all these numbers here. And I'm going to hit apply, and we should start getting some sounds coming through BeatCutter. You can already hear it, yeah? And you'll see this grid start filling up. So this is now taking those input sounds, that drone, chopping it all up and reorganizing it into this, what you're hearing right now. Hello, Deep Gravity. Super sparse. Plus we've got our king of VHS over here that I can hit a random note at any time. And BeatCutter just continues on its way. Look at it go. It's doing its own thing. I'm going to change the template out again, hit a random. There's presets in here you can find. Set a preset. Wow. Remember, this was just a drone. And now it's turned it into fucking something like the soundtrack from Alien 3. Listen to that. That is so savage. And I'm sure there's people out there who make, you know, conventional music, like rock music or pop music or whatever, who are thinking, what could these apps do for me? I don't make noise. I don't make the tension. But hey, you never know when you're going to need some kind of effect or opening thing or some kind of texture that will work. BeatCutter is a wild animal that cannot be tamed. But listen to this, man. It's so good. So good. Now, the other thing, too, is you may not want to make music with these, but let me tell you, if you are into things like dark soundscapes and stuff to help you get to sleep and don't want to pay a fortune for subscriptions to listen to this shit to put you to sleep that you could probably find on YouTube for free, $10 for something like this to just create your own soundscapes to go to bed to. Mwah! Not everything is about making a song and releasing it and doing all that shit, of course. So yeah, this has come pretty much from, let's get this going. I'm going to change some of these things up here. Just to a 6. And you can see me just changing this a little bit. Let's change it again. I just love this app so much. Let's scooch these out of here. And let's go on to our next one. So I'm going to load up next. I think we'll do GlitchScaper. I've got something playing in the background. I've got GlitchScaper playing. There we go. Not GlitchScaper. Let's load up GlitchScaper. So here's another one. GlitchScaper, again, can be used as an instrument, can be used as an effect. It's completely up to you. But what's really cool about GlitchScaper is it's glitchy, it's scratchy and strange, but it's also quite rhythmic. So let's grab some classic beats. You can see some of these presets. We're going to hit set again and hit play. So not only can you make things like beats, but you can get pretty chaotic. Some of these lower ones are pretty wild. Let's throw on a Stella Vox and give it a big room, yeah? So this is just one app at the moment doing its thing with a bit of reverb on it. It's pretty wild. Let's introduce our NoInputMixer and BeatCutter, and our VCR, our VHS. Hello, Pete Johns. We are at our halfway point, and every day we do this to fit an ad in. So you can avoid the ad by becoming a YouTube Premium subscriber or just by skipping the ad, and we'll wait for you to come back. The ad has been run. Let me just turn this down for a second. And while we're waiting for those who may or may not have been served an ad, let me tell you what's coming up on the show this week. Tomorrow we're taking a look at this baby. It's called Stray Cat Purist. It is a noise gate, and boy, it's going to give Bruce Free a run for its money because it's pretty damn good. It covers a whole lot of spectrums of noise and can cancel out noise, fizz, noise. It's pretty damn wild. There's that. That is happening tomorrow here on the show. Now, also this week is, we're going to take a look at this Rock Dude X1000 from Nembrini. It is a rock, it is a 80s rock sim, guitar sim. So we'll take a look at that this week. Also, pre-recorded videos. I think we're doing this week. There's ZX Plectrum. You'll hear more about that as we go. And I think we're taking a look at a modular synth this week as well too. That's what I have planned. Plus, let's give you the update on the rest of the stuff happening. Interview this week. Well, Mandy Prater is joining me this week. She's an amazing guitarist, singer, songwriter. She performs. She's a busker. She performs at airports. She's from Texas. She live streams on Twitch and YouTube, and she's just super talented. So she's coming on the show this week, sponsored by Destroy Good. Walk With Me is being filmed tomorrow. There you go. So that's happening. I'm not going to tell you where because Costa might find out. And we are wrapping up this week, of course, with the Creative Hour 1 hour song challenge with the clocks. That photo. The clocks are hunting me down. All right, let's get back into this and cover some more of these apps we've got here. So lots of good stuff coming up. In other words, we're going to take out all these sounds except for GlitchScaper. So let's add LoopMangler into GlitchScaper and see what that does. So you can see with LoopMangler, it takes what's already there and just trashes it, just mangles the shit out of it. We've got a glitch here, decimator, a filter, a gate, and you can put these anywhere. You can add these grids over here, so you know you can get pretty wild with this. Again, full demos in the description. Let's talk about another one of my favorites. And I know it's one of Leela's favorites as well. This is called SpaceFields. And what I'm going to do is first, I'm going to put SpaceFields as an instrument. So again, can load it up as an instrument, and you can import your own samples into this and record your own samples. So you could record something in here, and you can actually save samples in here. So it's very, very deep. Again, you'll need to watch the full tutorial I did. But once you start recording samples in, so you've got two methods. You can have an input where we're inputting notes in to create the, so this is essentially a looper, yeah? So basically it's a looper. It has two loopers. It takes the input into here, puts it through the looper, and then it sends it out into two separate loopers. So you got, and they both bounce back and forward from each other. So that is the concept of it. Or you can load your own samples. So let's just click one of these and see what it does. Let's try another one. And you can determine the length of it, how long you want the sample to go. There's a whole lot of stuff here. And if I turn down the wet mix, there is a way to hear what these are, yeah? These things that are in here, these are popular pop music songs, like by Mariah Carey, and I've totally destroyed them. So again, really cool, but the other ace thing about it is you can load it as an effect. So let's load up SpaceFields in here. I'm going to put it before this. And now, whenever I play a note, let's go full screen. So now we're set on input section. You'll notice down here there's a little, there's a bunch of options. How you want the input signal to go. You can have it set to auto or signal or ready, so it's always ready to go and listening for stuff. When it's on auto, it's pretty much the same thing. So as soon as I hit a note, I'm just gonna choose. You can hear this doing its thing now. I've played the notes in. And now these loops are activated, and it's taking those sounds and generating what we want. We have pan options and pitching and feedback rates, frequencies. And a lot of these apps, you'll see two circles going around. All you got to do is tap on the inside and the circle changes, so you know now you're controlling the inside volume. Tap it again and you're on the outside levels. Let's change this preset. And we'll play some more notes in here, yeah? So and off it goes. And you'll notice, let me just turn this down for a second. When you're inputting stuff, as soon as I hit a note, because it's set to auto, watch the timer down here. So I'll play 3 notes. I've let go of the keys. As soon as the signal stops from my keyboard, the input stops at 19 seconds. So that will be the amount of the loop that is now being fed into these sections, right? Again, you'll need to watch a few tutorials, but these apps are just fucking so good, man. And this will just continue to evolve and loop, and you won't hear the same thing twice. Yeah, at any time I can now transition this, hit that high note, and this transition section here is about a second, so it's now transitioning into that note that I just played. Now this is the result of that note that I just played. Hello, Dana. Let's add SuperSaw. SuperSaw is an effect. Is it? I don't even know. SoundSaw. What am I doing? SuperSaw. This is SoundSaw. And you can probably get by the word saw. It's there to destroy sound. And you can hear what it does. It's beautiful. We've got an input, we've got a maximizer here, distortion, a decimator, bit crusher, envelope and filter. One of the more easier ones to understand. Now I just changed to the next preset. Beautiful. Let's take a look at VintageRack. So VintageRack pretty much tells you what it is in the first place. FX, vintage stuff, lo-fi, so we can add things like fuzz. We can add things like a ring modulator. To a reverse delay, and you can just add, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 effects in here, a compressor. We can change the parameters of these. They all have their own parameters. Heaps of presets. The other nice thing about these is all the parameters are open, so if you wanted to add an LFO to this and get these moving, you can do all that kind of stuff as well with your inputs. Everything's open to add your own stuff to inputs, gates, all that kind of stuff, slots. Let's add SynthScaper. All right, we've got no sound. What do we got? 15 minutes left. Let's add in here. So as I mentioned at the start too, SynthScaper comes in two versions. You've got SynthScaper LE, Let's load that one up. So SynthScaper LE is your AUv3 version of SynthScaper. It's not exactly the same, but here it is here. So if you're going to want to use this as an AUv3, I would recommend you get SynthScaper LE. And as mentioned, this is a synth, yeah? So you have drones. Let's go into our categories of stuff. So you've got a whole bunch of really cool categories. Come in here, back. And we have all of our presets, digital domain, back. Let's come here. So we've got pads, drones, instruments, one-shots. Let's load up some pads. So very similar. All you got to do is grab like Ancient Depression and hit Set Scene. And now when I play my keyboard, but what is beautiful about this is it has 3 generators. So I can come in here and choose different sounds. We can make sure that's done. Set preset, is that right? Yes. Let's mute these. We could come in here and go back and choose a drone. In fact, let's get this thing moving by itself. I'm going to put in a bounce bud. Oops. I think we got one more to cover. Let's just put in a bounce bud here. And we'll shoot this out to King of VHS. And we'll shoot the bottom one out to SynthScaper LE. And all these balls now should generate notes. So now we've got some notes generating. We're going to talk about the last app on the list here, and that is AltiSpace. So this is an advanced convolution reverb as well. Where again, heaps and heaps of presets. It is ridiculous how many presets there are. Set. The other good thing about AltiSpace is convolution reverb. You can add your own convolution reverbs if you have them. Impulse responses. So what have we got here? Let's have a look. Let's bring these in. Let's do a bit of panning maybe, so we can separate this. I'm going to pan this one hard. We'll add a pan in here. We'll add this one hard the other way. We'll do this one out, just out here a little bit. And we have built a pretty wild soundscape using every one of these apps. Oh, absolutely, Clayton Von Cleesh. That's their thing. Ambient, extreme noise. So I think I'll save this. Oop. And let's clear this out of here. So I did actually make a demo for today, but I didn't start with it. So let's load that up. I remember now why I didn't start with it. It was crashing my iPad because look how much shit I got in here. It's set at the DSP max at the moment. I love it. Let's see what we can do. This is what I was going to open the show with today. DSP max. All right, so all of these apps are on sale at the moment. Now, they're not going to be on sale for a long time. Yeah, I think you got like 2 days. If you want to grab a couple of these, grab one of them. As I mentioned at the start of the show, they're roughly around $5 to $6 off at the moment, just by looking here at that list. So it's roughly $5 to $6 off most of them. So definitely worth your time to go and grab one of them before they go off sale. Igor is one of my favorite developers. Every time he releases something, I get super excited and sit there and want to bust my brains reading his manuals because they're pretty full on. But remember, folks, don't be overwhelmed by these kind of things. I know they look crazy, and every developer has their own kind of UI and style, and Igor's very unique in his own right. But there's plenty of videos out there that'll help you understand using these things and get the sound that you're looking for. All right, I'm out. Pete Johns is coming up next. Tomorrow we're taking a look at Purist Noise Gate, so that should be fun. Thanks for being here on the live stream. Thanks for watching on the replay. Please do the stuff, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We are under 30 people away. 30 subscribers from 5,000. It's getting close, folks. What are we going to do for a 5,000 celebration? I don't even know. Don't even know. All right. 5,000, man. Let's get out of here. Do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. We'll all rise together. Stay awake and let's...